All right, welcome Lagos. It's time for Personal Finance here for a Wednesday, and who else but Nimi in the studio with us. Hey Nimi, how you doing?
Hello, I'm
Welcome,
fine, thank you.
Hope the traffic
Thank you.
didn't get you.
No, it was fine today.
Okay, good to know. Good to have you here. For a minute I was scared because we looked at the traffic just from before and it was horrendous. The VI is a box.
I was in traffic for so long.
I would come in a helicopter or
No.
a flight just to be here.
That's
Aww.
a good one. Thank
That's
you.
awesome.
We appreciate it. So Lagos, so remember now the number to send in WhatsApp messages to for today's discussion is 08094444091. Same as ever, that's 08094440981. March is a special month. I was born in March. Thank you very much. It's also Women's Month. Name,
Yes.
why are you laughing?
Because you're just trying to get presents, I can tell.
Oh, yes.
Well,
Just get him ice cream. He'll be fine.
oh no, Hauwa, don't you dare. It's also Women's Month, if I said that correctly from before,
Yes.
with the International Women's Day on
Tomorrow.
the 8th.
Tomorrow.
Yeah, it's on Friday, isn't it?
8th Friday.
Yeah.
Oh, dang.
It's also 2019, Hauwa.
Keep quiet. Leave me alone.
Anyhow, there's Mother's Day as well at the end of the month. Did you
That's
know?
right, yes.
Yeah, and there's so much focus on women in March, so we thought we should look at the unique financial challenges women especially face. As usual, our in-house person and expert, Nimi Akinkugbe, is here to discuss this and help us navigate through them. So once again, you're welcome, Nimi.
Thank you so much.
Alrighty. So how we get started? How's this?
Okay, so let's differentiate between financial concerns of the men and the women. Why is there a need to do that? I mean, I know the answer to that, but for everyone else out
Yes.
there, why is there a need?
You know, at first glance, it's easy for people to think that men and women have the similar needs, because the general principles of financial planning are the same. But women have unique challenges that translate to different needs, and it's found that women are becoming, even as we become more financially successful, running our businesses, have investments, leading large corporations, or even in government, but somehow we're still falling behind in terms of managing our personal finances, and that's what we need to address.
Yes, very much so. And I forgot to tell you all out there, if you want to join in on the conversation with all of us here in the studio, you can send us a message, 0809-444-0981. Okay, let's talk about those challenges that women have more specifically.
Okay, so one of them is income. Women generally, all over the world, earn less than their male counterparts, even in the same business. I'm sure that doesn't happen at Smooth.
Oh!
No, it doesn't.
What?
No, of course not. It's very level playing field here at Smooth, isn't it? Yes, it is.
So women naturally have
Silence.
to save more, because
Crickets.
if they're earning less, even at the same level, you know, that happens a lot. And then a good one that you won't like, Mazino, women live longer than men. On an average of 7 years longer than men. So that means there's a longer period for them to
Need money.
for.
It's okay.
And then there's a trait that's a worry. We're more conservative, risk averse. So women would rather go with investments that have very low risk. I had a speaking engagement this morning, and everybody was just so excited about the money market mutual funds, and not as interested in the stock market mutual funds, just because they just wanted to see their money and they just wanted to have the principal. They kept saying the principal back the end of my investment and so on. So there's that. And of course, you know that the greater the risk, the greater the return. So if you can take calculated, well-advised risk, you should do that. The downside to being so risk averse is that investment opportunities pass you by, some serious investment opportunities, because you're being so risk averse. And that's an issue as well.
And
Before we go any further, I want to ask. So if it's been noted are more risk averse, that means they rarely want to take on big risks.
Big risk, the way men do.
Women.
So,
okay, so would this be responsible, or is there? I don't know if there's such data that tells that bigger businesses or big businesses that have succeeded are owned or championed by men, and that this is the reason, because women don't want to take on those risks that might come with.
I don't know the statistics of that, but if you think about it, if you look at some of the major big companies and big, entrepreneurs that took this significant risk, dropped off something, left a major job and did something else, you tend to find that there'll be many more men. Of course, they've hired women, and some women are doing very well and have become leaders of these companies. But in terms of just that extra push, now you'll find men would come together, put money together, and do a whole development. we're much more secure in just getting that one house and just building our one house and growing,
raising the kids.
raising, you know what I mean? So, and that could be part of the reason.
I was going to ask.
We're nurturers, so we're sort of caring about our families and our children.
And whereas men are the hunter-gatherers, you know,
Yes,
they're
so
out there.
And
more
we'll
risky.
dive in.
So when you speak at these gatherings, what do you tell women? Are you telling them to take more risks?
I'm saying do something. I think we've also had the offshoot of the Cinderella, Snow White and the Seven Dwarfs, all those fairy tales. So there's the traditional gender roles. We all grew up with the Cindy and Barbie dolls, and the knight in shining armor was going to come over here and take care of everything.
Fairy
I
tales.
think there's that mindset.
Brainwashing.
So you've had that in your mind. It's your father, then it's going to be your spouse. So many women, even though they're earning sometimes more than their spouses, are sitting on the sidelines and leaving that decision making
Up to the men, yes.
up to the men in their lives, brothers,
Yes.
husbands, you know.
The men.
So I think it may be an offshoot of that whole legacy of, you know, you just delegate all responsibility for your finances to the male members of the family. It may be cultural, I don't know.
Very, very true. What about with the children? What are the other risks?
Yes, of course, that's another major one. Women are taking time off work to have babies.
Oh, yeah.
Some countries are incredible. So in I think it's in Finland, they have 12 months maternity leave. I'm not sure how long paternity leave is, but the man is also entitled to
Yeah, we should fight for that in Nigeria.
and almost every company automatically is going to have a creche. So many women are having to take time off. When it's time to come back after 3 short months, when the child
demoted.
is hardly ever ready to leave, they don't want to come back, or even if they come back, they're probably losing promotions, and sometimes they stay away. A lot of people drop off at that point. So women that would have been on the fast track are dropping off for reasons because of their family, or they have a child that needs extra care or time.
They call it the mommy train.
Yes.
In your experience and in seeing trends, especially with rich families, now where a rich father bequeaths his business to a son or a daughter, have you noticed which one does any better?
No, I don't have information about that.
I think it's the women.
No.
Just because it's women's
I'm
month.
relating. Okay, I'll give that to you guys. But I'm relating this to the risk factor and the risk appetite.
But you know, we're not a monolith. Like it's not all women who are risk averse. You know, there are some women who would be just like those men. Maybe she didn't have any children and she just, you know, really.
But you see, women make amazing managers. So if she's just brought in to take over her father's business, she's going to do it very, very well. So that's not so much of a risk. If there's it's about, you know, working in this organization and then taking that plunge and doing something totally different, or you know, you just find that we're a bit different. And of course, because women are involved in the extended family, so you find that a woman, even if she goes and lives in China or New Zealand, she's still the one who's taking care of her parents in a village in Nigeria or in another country, you know. So
they're bogged
you
down,
find that
really.
so you can understand all those issues. There's family
because of that nurturer instinct.
Yes, but it's affecting us. It's affecting us because you know, without taking risk and without doing big things, you'll be doing small things. So that's what happens. We need longer maternity leave. We need do you have a creche here?
No.
But we did have quite a few ladies pregnant at the same time here.
So how did they cope? And they work late.
They're all on maternity leave right now.
And it's 3 months, 90 days.
Yes, we missed them.
Yeah, very much.
But when they come back to work, they're going to be working late hours.
You can have this discussion with HR downstairs. we can't say nothing. So what are the challenges?
Good one, Mazino.
What are the challenges that are unique with women?
What other ones?
A bit more about maternity leave. So when she comes back, sometimes you have your pay goes on for a particular length of time. After a while, if you opt to stay away longer, your pay stops. That happens.
Unpaid maternity
now,
leave.
that means you're expecting your pension down the line. So these are actual factual reasons why her long-term savings are impacted. So it's just to be careful about that.
Remember, Lagos is 080-9444-0981 if you want to contribute. That's 080-9444-0981. You're going to say.
Yes, and then another big one is women who've lost a partner, particularly if they didn't have an estate plan in place. That is such a shock horror in this environment. So you have a lot of problems with widows who lost their spouse, and the extended family often feels that their brother's property is theirs. So sometimes the woman doesn't stand a chance. I mean, literally, she loses her home, she loses her property, even if she worked for it and built everything up.
That's another cultural glitch that we
I have a
have.
friend whose husband passed away about 4 or 5 years ago, and she literally ran. She ran with all the property and everything. She just left the one house behind, and you know what? You guys don't know about these other ones. You can keep this one, but she just
Smart lady.
Literally
At least she had something else.
With the kids.
They had no kids. And this made the problem even bigger.
Because she had no
Because
no stake on the family. It's like,
So
she's not part of
she
the
had
family.
she had to take it into her hands and do what was right for her before she lost it all. And,
Wow.
she's still all right.
She would have done that. She would have lost everything. So that's a major problem. So, and this is also why it's important for women to be involved in the family's estate planning. So without making your husband think you're trying to kill him off, it's important to talk about estate planning.
Yes.
And make sure. Mazino, do you have a will?
I'm only 38 next week.
It doesn't matter. Mazino, we talk about this.
I know.
We talk about this.
I know.
You're the only one with dependents.
How I know this? I was just doing that for conversation reason.
We didn't know we were going to attack him like this.
Yeah. Well,
Okay, Mazino, I'll save you. Let's move on to the next one. Okay.
So it's important for women to be involved and understand the family finances. So many women don't even know who owns the house they live in.
You need to know all that.
So it's just to become involved. Even there's bound to be a person in the family who's leading in terms of financial planning for the family, but you cannot sit on the sidelines and not know anything about your family finances.
Very true.
Women should be able to pay at least a year of their children's school fees. I know it sounds ghastly, but if something goes wrong, something happens, and there's nowhere to turn to, it's important that you actually have some savings to be able to take care of that.
Insurance, ladies, insurance. What about
insurance? Is another one.
Yes. Yeah.
I've been in so many events and nobody has health insurance. Especially small business women who have small businesses. When you're working for a corporate, you take it for granted because the company just does it for you. But in a small business, the corporate can't afford to do that, and people aren't taking it up on themselves to pay for the insurance plan for themselves. So they're out of pocket all the time, or they're doing self-medication, or getting sick and praying for the best.
Wow. So there's another area where women pretty much get very disadvantaged in these situations. Let's talk about separation and divorce.
Yes, in our society, again, unfortunately, alimony, child support are not enforced. So a lot of women who are in terrible situations and really ought to be leaving their marriages, stay. And even if they do opt to leave, they have to bear the burden of expenses for the children. I mean, I really admire the single mothers nurturing, educating children without any help at all, which is all the more reason why it's so important to have the health insurance, life insurance policies, all these things in place. There are policies now out there where if you lose your job, there's an unemployment benefits, so that for that period you're being paid something. But all these things we're talking about are ignored a lot of the time. So people get into such serious trouble because they don't have anything in place and nothing to fall back on.
Sad. All right, for all of you out there, you can still send in messages, 0809 444 0981. We're going to take a very, very quick break here on personal finance. Make sure you stay tuned. It's Mazino, Hauwa, and Nimi Akinkugbe in the studio on Smooth 98.1. What now?
I'm sorry, I threw you off. But I noticed that it's a hype, and
so it's going to be long?
It's going to be long, yeah.
Okay.